Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Arbor Hemlock binding. I rode this binding at Copper Mountain on a day that was sunny, bluebird, warm temps, perfect corduroy, had a little chop and chunder in the shade, some leftover pow, and I rode it on my Ride Shadowband snowboard with my K2 Thraxis boots. So with this binding you got twist cams on the toe and the heel strap, so you pop it up, twist it. You'll be able to lengthen or shorten the strap depending where you want it. With the Highback on the forward lean adjustment, it is a set screw, which with how soft these Highbacks are, that's probably actually a really good thing. The heel cup is able to be adjusted. You just have to loosen the screw, and then you can pull it out or push it in depending on how you need to have your boot centered. And then the Highback also has a forward lean adjustment down here. So you unscrew it and you can kind of rotate it around just a little bit. It's got a couple placements if you need to rotate it to make it parallel with your heel edge. And finally, you also have a push pin system on the toe strap. So you push it down, you pull it up, push that little rubber gusset back over it, and boom, it's locked in. So you got some solid adjustments on this binding. So with the heel strap, it is the Bio strap, same one that's on the Cypress. There is no extra padding to this thing. So it is just gonna mold over your instep. It's very minimal. It's a little more rigid, but it's gonna lock you down. All your padding is actually going to come in from your boot. With the toe strap, you got this nice big cutout. It's gonna fit a pointy-toed boot better than a big blocky one. Just locks you right in. It's also rigid just like the heel strap. It'll lock you in. Now, they aren't the stiffest straps, so you will be able to press through them. One thing I do want you guys to know is that the twist tabs, you need to check on these. The first day that I used these, I had it completely cranked down as tight as possible. It survived one lap. I don't know where it went. It was on when I made the deep, hard toe side turn coming into the base area at Center Village at Copper, and when I released the ladder, I'm pretty sure it just went flying off into the ether to be eaten by the snow machines. So always make sure you check those. Otherwise, the straps, they do their job. While they climb well, they could still be better. There's some limitations with these. So when you actually open this up, it doesn't get as much leverage as another ratchet out there. It kind of hits that wall when it's climbing. And that's only because it's got 3 teeth. It could just grip better on that. Now, they do release. They're smooth climbing. You have a 1-finger quick release on the heel strap. It is so minimal that you're pretty much gonna grab this thing from the front and release it just like you would the toe. So there is no uniformity between the toe and the heel ratchet with them both having that quick tab. Personally, I would fix that. I like it when both of my ratchets are the exact same. These were a little sticky right outside the box, so just be aware of that. They will break in over time, and they don't get the same amount of torque, as I already said, as other ratchets. Like, you can see the limitations right here on that toe ratchet. All right, why haven't you subscribed, clicked the bell, and got those notifications yet? You know you want to. You're learning stuff over here. You're trying to become a better snowboarder, not a person that snowboards. This has to be the softest Highback I've used in years. I mean, it's very reminiscent of the old K2 Hurricane, but this thing, I mean, it's malleable. Like, you can really twist it, and when you drive into it, there's a ton of give, except right where that forward lean block is. That gives you just a little bit of rigidity, which is kind of what you need when you're going on a heel side turn using this binding. But overall, I mean, this thing is soft and malleable. Like, seriously, one of the softest Highbacks I've ever used. So with the X base on this, you do get a little bit of rigidity underfoot, which is nice because then you can actually transfer some power into this. But overall, with that soft Highback and just these straps not having a lot to them, you can really just float around on top of the binding. You get a lot of lateral play, you get a lot of toe to heel play. You're really pushing through it. Only when you've maxed out the play, then does the base actually engage and feel a little bit stiffer. The overall flex of this binding is for someone that's just into jibbing. There's just so much give with it. Even with the X base being more rigid, it's not damp. You feel everything with this. Sure, you've got this pad in here that helps to try to dissipate any chatter, but overall, this binding just doesn't do a good job at it. You feel everything. You take a flat landing, you're taking a hammering. You ride through a washboard, you're taking a hammering. You hit a buried ice boulder, you're taking a hammering. Basically, you're getting hammered with this thing. You're gonna feel everything with it. Who's this binding for? The jib kid that wants a little power underfoot with a ton of play up top. If you like what we're doing, why don't you swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member? Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. This is a very playful binding. I was really surprised at how soft that Highback was, and that kind of set the stage for how this binding was gonna ride. Sure, you got that X base and it's a little more rigid, but it's like two different worlds colliding, and you just get a very lively binding that doesn't dampen, that you can just push right through, and it's soft. Like, sure, I was able to carve, but I just didn't feel like I had control. That Highback was just giving out on me, and I could push through the straps. Overall, I mean, it's a jib binding, which is not who I am anymore, so I need something with a little more power, but if that's you, you're probably gonna enjoy it. Comparable bindings: the bent metal joint, the Union Ultra, the Bataleon Fly. All right, this has been my review of the Arbor Hemlock binding. If you enjoyed it, why don't you go watch one of the reviews for one of the comparable bindings? You know you want to. Go down that YouTube hole.